Probability, this is really our first lesson where we're learning something new. Venn diagrams, pretty easy the first lesson. Venn diagrams are very useful actually in a few different kinds of fields. Probability is one of them. So let's work with work with the dice. Okay, you throw a dice, you can have 3 options, 6 different options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the only possible outcomes. We already used the word the sample space. Okay, the sample space is basically all the different possible results. Okay, in this case it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, when we want to draw it, often we want to draw it. Okay, the sample space will have a shape of a rectangle. Okay, so all the possible results will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, let's have a look at a specific event in this sample space. Let's look at event A, okay, which is basically the odd numbers. Okay, so A is the odd numbers. Not odd, yeah, let's go odd numbers. Okay. So there's a couple of ways of writing it. You can write it as like a set, like this. You use these funny brackets, you know what I mean? These little pointy, like wiggly, and there's a little spiky thing there. You know what I mean? Okay? Not like, okay? And what are the odd numbers then? 1, 3, and 5. So that's one way of writing A. Okay? Another way is to write it on sample space in the Venn diagram. Okay? So if we call this circle, this is a specific event. We'll call it A. We can put 1, 3, and 5. Right? And then what other results are there? Other than 1, 3, and 5? 2, 4, and 6. So they have to be, together, those results and those results form what we call a sample space. It's that easy, isn't it? Okay? I can also say that not A, we were talking about this not A last lesson. What will be not A? Which numbers?
1,
2, 4, 6. Okay, not A. So whatever is inside the circle of A, that is A. Whatever is outside, obviously not A. But both A and not A are part of the sample space. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, there are 3 ways of actually writing this Venn diagram. The first one is what they call the outcomes. Okay? This is when I actually show you what outcomes. Outcomes mean, in this case, is all these numbers between 1 and 6. Another way of writing it is number of outcomes. Okay? So I can draw the same sample space and event A, right? But instead of actually writing which numbers belong to which, I'm just going to write how many outcomes are in this event. So how many odd numbers there are? 3. So I'm going to write 3 here. How many numbers are not in A? 3. So it's the same thing, but written a bit differently. Here I specify the outcomes. Here I just count how many numbers there are. Yes, Ollie. Just pause. Right. The last one, I can actually also write everything in probability. Probabilities. Okay? So again, the square is the sample space, as I answered Ollie now. It's the whole sample space. And the circle is a specific event. What is the probability that A will happen? 3 out of 6. We can straight away simplify half. So instead of writing the outcome as the number of outcomes, we can talk about what's probability. So P of A, you can write it like that, is half. And the probability of not A taking place? Half. Easy, isn't it? Okay, I'll pause here. And we'll do one proper question. Okay, so now we're moving to a slightly more complicated question, which is more like what you come across. So I've got a sample space of all the numbers between 1 and 12. It could be a dice that you throw and I have 12 sides. So the sample space, we'll often use the letter S, 1 to 12. Okay? The Venn diagram, the rectangle, stands for the sample space, all the numbers. Now I'm going to look not at one possible event, I'm going to look at 3 possible events. A, B, and C. Okay, let's go through it. Now A, okay, A is all the multiples of 3. Let's write it next to here if you guys can see it. Now let's write it. Okay? Which one are the multiples of 3 in this sample?
3, 6, 9, 12.
3, 6, 9, and 12. Okay? So there's 4 of them. Okay? I'm just going to check. Yeah, alright. 3, 6, 9, 12. Factors of 9. Which one are factors of 9? 1, 9, and 3. So there's 3 of those. Multiples of 5. 5, 10. Yeah, that's it. Okay? So now our job is to draw them somehow. Okay? So we're gonna, let's start with A. Okay? So A. And I will go with the first way of drawing a Venn diagram. I'm gonna actually write down the numbers. Okay? The possible numbers. So I'm gonna have 3, 6, 9, and 12. Okay? B. Let's go for another color, B. B is 1, 3, and 9. Okay, let's just put that 12 there. So, should I just do something like this and draw the number in?
Different shape. Wasn't it like make it cover?
Yeah, like include into the E.
So
It doesn't really matter if it touches, it doesn't really matter the shape, but there is a problem here.
include the 3s.
It includes a 3, because look, 3 is in B and in A, so it can't be a separate circle. It doesn't matter what shape it is, that's not the issue, but it has to include B. It has to touch A. Okay? In the language of next lesson, we will say that there is an intersection. Intersection. Okay? And you see, I've got 3 here, and I'm also going to have 1 and a 9.
But 9
there's
is
a
also
9 in the
Let me just, right, yeah, there's a 9 one as well. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the 9 here, and now they go.
So you actually draw the shapes first. Then.
Yeah.
So does it have to be a circle? Can you?
Now you can do whatever you want. You can do a polar bear, a teddy bear, whatever you want. Smiley faces. Just go with circles, it's like easier. Okay? Right, and then I've got C. We'll give it a red. Is that also going to have an intersection? Or? No, just at home. Okay, so 5 and 10. Now, am I finished?
No.
No. I'm missing some numbers. Which number, for example, do I miss?
4.
Okay, 4.
Yeah.
2. Okay, I'm missing a whole bunch. Where should I put them?
On the outside.
Yeah.
On the outside. On the outside here.
Outskirt.
in the box.
Okay, it's still in the sample space, but it's not in A, B, or C. So let's just write them. So we've got 1, I've got 2, 3, I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11. That's it. Okay, I'll just pause this for a second. All right, we're back in. Okay, so the last bit about this, not difficult question, is to actually calculate the probability of each one of these events. So let's say I want to know what's the probability of A. You know how to do it. You just stand there. How do I calculate the probability of A taking place?
4 out of 12.
So you're going to just do 4 out of 12. What are we actually doing here? What is the 4? But what is 4? Now, why did you say 4? There's 4 numbers in A. So what you're going to do is we use that letter N. Okay? N, the little small n for A means the number of outcomes that A includes. Okay? I'll write it down for you in a minute. Okay? And then we divide it by the sample, the number of the sample space. Okay? So in this case it was 4 out of 12. Okay? For PB, okay, is going to be the number of outcomes in B divided by the number in this total sample space. How much in B? 3. 3 out of 12. Obviously, we need to simplify the same here. It will be a third. Okay? So the formula that you guys can write down. Yeah. Okay, the formula that you need to know is that the probability for an event taking place is always going to be the number of outcomes included in this event divided by the numbers in the sample space. Okay, I'll just pause that. Okay, so I've written it here for you. Okay, you guys can copy it wherever you guys watch this video. Okay, the probability of an event taking place. Okay, to raise it a little bit. The probability of event taking place is the number of outcomes in that E include divided by the total number of outcomes in the sample space. And that sounds very easy, and it is easy, but you wouldn't believe how many mistakes there are, because often the question will be asking you, what's the probability? And then people will say, like, what's the probability of A? And then people will say 4, because there are 4 possible, but that's not probability, that's the number of outcomes. Or I'm going to ask you how many possible outcomes for A, and people will say a third. Well, that's the probability. So don't get confused between the two. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.